Welcome you all for the CEO Talk Mumbai. This is an initiative by The Talk. The Talk offers a very powerful platform to offer meaningful business relationships and partnerships between the business. And this show is brought to you by Tata Telebusiness Services. They are the country's leading enabler of communication and connectivity solutions for businesses in India. They offer solutions ranging from cloud IoT solutions, marketing, security, and connectivity and collaboration solutions. And they're also the leading ICT solution provider for businesses in India. Now, I would like to start today's session by introducing the able panelists who have joined with us. But I know this is a virtual session, but let us all give a good round of applause after I call out each of the names so that we have a good energy going inside the room. I would like to start by introducing Mr. Nilesh Roy, CSIO, VGM Consultants Private Limited. Thank you so much for joining with us. We also have Mr. Maryar Patel, Group Chief Information Officer, Gina and Company. Thanks for joining with us, sir. We also have Mr. N.K. Mehta, CEO and MD of Secure Network Solutions India Private Limited. Thank you for joining with us, sir. We also have Madam Rupinda Anand, Chief Executive Officer, OK India Private Limited. Thank you so much for joining with us. We also expect the presence of Mr. Shrikant Seshadri, the Chief Executive Officer of Unfined Compass, who will be joining with us very shortly. Now, before I start the session, I would like to, give you a small heads up about what we're going to do today, right? So, the theme of today's session, that is very important. So, the theme of today's session is reset to grow with the tech advantage. So, the pandemic is almost, was about to submerge, and again we see a rise and things are going, but still our business is flowing with one side parallelly, and we're all set to grow once again, right? So the business was suppressed for the past few months, and now we are all set to grow, and that's how that's what we're gonna see today. So this is going to be a panel discussion. Basically, I have a set of 4-6 questions for which I would love to understand your perspective. So kindly keep your timings in check. The first few questions are very generic questions. You can take about 90 seconds for those questions, and probably, for the other questions, we can take a couple of minutes or so. All right. So are you all ready? I'm very excited to hear from you for the next 1 hour. So let's quickly jump onto the session. So as I was telling, this last 1 year has been a complete chaos or, turnaround for a lot of businesses. There were businesses that hit a complete ground level, or on the flip side, there were a lot of companies who actually did well. There were a lot of businesses that boomed during the pandemic in specific, and they literally rode the unicorn. Right? So talking about which, one thing what we cannot deny is that the business climate is changing, right? So the business is changing. And now I would like to understand from you panelists, how is your business responding to the new normal? How is your business responding to the new normal? I would like to start with Mr. Nilesh. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet everyone, all the speakers and the audience. Okay, pandemic had been actually a boon for our industry. We are in the collections and recoveries business. So, and we work with various principles for the banking and basically the BFSI sector, the banks and the NBFCs. So we had seen a overall around 150% rise in our net revenues during this last 1 year. So, and as for business as usual, we had been working from office since almost September last year. Yes, so that's how it is.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nilesh. Just let me hear it from Mr. N.K. Mehta this time. Over to you.
Very good afternoon to all the speaker and the panelists. as Anchor has introduced, my name is N.K. Mehta. I run a company called Secure Network Solutions, and we provide data security solutions to corporates. What that means, any corporate who is trying to connect to internet, well, they are exposed to so many hacking attempts, and also we protect that. Now, we have been in this business for 20 years. Now, whether it's pandemic or not pandemic, everybody understands that data is at risk, right? The moment you connect to internet, you are at risk. And pandemic has brought this risk much, much more than what it was a year back. Why? Because of the pandemic, workforce shifted to work from home, right? Especially large organizations and especially IT companies, everybody was working, and still most of them are working from home. So as a result, the connectivity increases a lot. We call it a surface area, which are connected to the internet, increased a lot. Like 1,000 users working in office have one connectivity, but now there are 1,000 people working at 1,000 different places. So the attack surface area increases. So pandemic was a boom for companies who are in IT security business. I will not say for us, but in general, security grew up like anything. But since we were already in security, there was nothing new for us. It's just that our customers, like people started working from home because of pandemic, but our large customers were already working from home, or they were traveling. Rather, for example, employees of TCS or Hexaware, this type of companies were traveling a lot. So that remote connectivity was always there. Pandemic gave a chance for other companies, non-IT companies, to start working from home, and then security business actually picked up a lot. And we were on our toes supporting our customers 24/7, setting up the security to securely work from home.
Done. So here we have someone who literally, had a very good time during the pandemic when the world was, at the risk. So we had Mr. Mehta, who really did well with the data.
I will not say that we had a pretty good time, but we were on our toes.
All right.
What I'm trying to say is, see, I'll give an example, then you will understand. See, we have over 100+ engineers. So they were always well equipped. The day pandemic was announced, from next day, they started working from home, because everybody has laptop, everybody has remote connectivity, and we were in that business. But the challenge came not from the engineers, came from our, say, finance head. But finance head came and said, we have such critical data. How can I tell my accounts team and all to work from home? Is it not a security breach?
All right.
And I had tough time explaining him, look, Mr. Sundaram, his name is Sundaram, we have been setting the security for all our organizations who have been running their SAP and ERP, all confidential data all these days. And you don't believe us for our own data? And he said, well, if you say, then I believe. I says, no, it's not that you believe me, it's believe the technology. So today technology is available that you can securely work from home in a very, 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 controlled fashion. Only problem is organization should invest into that.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Yes, I would like to hear from Mr. Mariel Patel this time. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, and good afternoon to everybody. And I think Mr. Nilesh and Mr. Mehta has already set the tone. So we are exactly probably 1 year down the line from when the pandemic started. Exactly 1 year down the line. So if you look at it, one word that comes into my mind when we all work from home or wherever we work from is collaboration. I think that's one of the biggest words which is coming into our minds. Collaboration, yes, secure. Collaboration, yes, cloud. Collaboration, working on all your conferencing solutions. So I feel that if you today look at it, collaboration is the future for us to work with. So having said that, I feel that today the point where we have reached that some businesses might do excellent. If you look at a retail solution, I'll just give an example. I am from a logistics and supply chain company. But if you look at a brick and mortar retail store, obviously people don't go there. So there is no sale in a store. But if the same store is available online, people go and buy online. So those are some of the differentiator values which are coming in for a business. And what is the focus and what is going to be a driving force for now and the future? Because if you look at it, this pandemic is not dying down. We are going to have repetitive situations like this. And we need to be obviously ready to handle this situation. I'm not talking about personally, I'm talking about business perspective only. So if you look at my industry, logistics and supply chain, there is a tremendous amount of change which has happened over a period of 1 year.
Sorry,
So if you look
Mr.
at it,
Patel, requesting you to keep your answers a little short since the time is pressing.
yeah, so I'll just summarize. I said I am looking at a situation where there is a lot of collaboration and paperless situation which has happened in my industry, and I will explain to you it in my next question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel. I'd like to bring in Madam Rupinda at this time. Over to you, Rupinda.
Thank you. So just before I start to tell you about the company I work with, Oki India, it's a Japanese company, and we are into what we call cash recycling ATM machines. So this is basically machines where you can deposit your cash and the machine can identify the denomination, identify counterfeit, and track the deposits by serial number to the depositor. And then the same money which is deposited, which is in real time credited to the depositor's account, is then used for recycling. So this is the new technology, not so new anymore, but it's what banks are adopting more and more. And one big thing which happened with the pandemic coming in is that the demand for these kind of machines, or rather, let me say the need recognized for these kind of machines went up significantly because they wanted the customers to operate more in a contactless environment with the bank. So rather than having people walking into branches to do the deposits, primarily deposits, the customers would definitely move to a machine to do the same. So to that extent, there was a huge demand of services and availability of these machines. The other piece in terms of deployments, that is something which probably got impacted because of logistical issues and the banks having priorities dealing with the challenges rather than, talking of huge deployments. So I would say it has been a bittersweet experience. While we have had an intense demand for high services quality, but we know that, in this scenario, the sales will follow the service.
All right.
So,
all right. Thank you so much, Rupinda. So that was a good round of insights from the panelists here. So I think we have all had a mixture of experiences during the pandemic for the last 1 year. But moving forward, there are certain things that has to be changed to cope up with the new normal, right? As I said earlier, the business is changing. So according to you, according to your business, what do you feel are, one or two things that has to be the top priority, the two key changes that has to be the top priority that has to be made with regards to your business? One or two top key changes as a priority with regards to your business that has to be changed. I would like to start with Mr. Mehta this time. Over to you.
Okay, two priorities. I will say first, we have to accept the fact that we have to reduce this human interaction, which was a very, very important factor. See, virtually what I realized in last 1 year, whatever we have been working, we can go up to some point. With the existing customers, we are able to transact the business, no problem. But with the new customers, this virtual thing is not working that much because the trust factor is not coming, which we are able to bring when we do face-to-face presentation, face-to-face meetings. So we have to accept the fact that we have to be less, that human touch will be less, and we have to accept it. Second, I think working from home, people are saying that is going to be new normal, but what I will say, it's going to be hybrid. It will be a mixture of working from home and the office. But one thing is for sure, we don't need a posh and big office to run our businesses. This is a big realization which has come, that we can operate successfully even from smaller offices by mixture of work from home and also, so this is a big relation for us. Lot of cost can be saved with this model. However, the employee productivity tracking and accountability is a big question. People who work, they will work in any way. But people, who want to give excuses, that is a big challenge until unless you can track the productivity and all. Otherwise, it's a wonderful model which this pandemic has given. People can spend time with the family and as well as, do the work. But there's a drawback. Many people complain being at home, they are not able to concentrate on the work. So there's a pros and cons. But what I will say, I am also a member of ISODA, we call in software development.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mehta. I need to cut you short here. I'll come back to you for
Sure.
the later part of the session. Yes, let me quickly move on to Mr. Mariel Patel. Over to you. What are the 2 key changes that has to be the priority with regards to your business?
So my quick learning in the last 1 year has been to look inside and look outside. So there are a lot of changes that can be done internally, how we function, and then how we cater to a lot of customers, how we connect to a lot of our agencies, regulatory authorities, and of course in my industry it is customs, which is one of the very big things. So I feel that the relation should be those strategic driving forces which you can probably go and change internally for your employees, redevelop your processes, look at your SOPs, how you can refine that, how you can automate a lot of stuff. And outside industry, you can look at situations, how you can collaborate through portals, how you can look at a paperless situation, because it's a new norm which is coming in, especially in the customs. There is something called Turan systems, which is introduced recently. It has got a paperless clearance system. So these are a lot of new things which are coming up, which are going to be very important in our years to come.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel. Over to Mr. Nilesh.
Yes, sir.
So what are the 2 key changes that has to be implemented on top priority with regards to your business?
Right. In our case, there have been a lot of API developments, like interconnect with various what you call principals and also consumers. So, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So there have been like a huge surge of API developments which happened in the last, basically in the last 6 months. It started 1 year back, but then there are lots of automation, end-to-end automation through API, through various connectivity, client-side connectivity through VPN and whatnot. So these are the 2 major sectors that has happened, impacted, or basically, or the technological driven enhancement which has happened in the last 6 months. On the API side, yes, like we had in the last 6 months, we had actually rolled out more than 58 APIs in the 6 months period. So that's a major what you can leap through, you can say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh. Yes, Rupenda, I would like to pull you in this time.
So I would agree with Meher that a big focus has to be on being process driven and on making sure that you can leverage automation as much as you can. But I think the one single biggest focus that I believe would be important for any organization is our HR. So the importance of HR in supporting business is more than ever before. Our biggest leverage today is our people. So having an ability to be able to know who's doing what, really, when they're not before you, setting clear goals for them, which are not ambiguous, which are clearly measurable. And ambiguity is one big reason, which why organizations have disconnects and people leave, people fail. And this is difficult in our current work from home environment because a lot of us are working from home. And there was another word I heard there, I think was it Meher or Mr. Mehta, who spoke about communication, collaboration, right? So it's very basic. It was important to all of us when we could see each other, but it is even more important today when we are not physically seeing each other. So having changes in the organization, whether it is in terms of your HR practices, whether it is in terms of your documentation of goal setting and measuring the same, or whether it is an adoption of automation, which is a given. I mean, there's no debate on that at all. I mean, that is a given, right? So I think, and I can't say two. It's like every day you realize that, oh, I have to change this and I have to change this, you know, so it's a continuous change mode that we are all in.
All right, lovely. Thank you, Rupita. So that was a good round once again. I think we have something very interesting to do at this juncture. So Mr. N.K. Mehta had already touched about the concept of work from home or the hybrid model. So at this juncture, I'd like to understand from all of the panelists here, with regards to your business, what do you think is going to be most effective? Is it going to be the regular office setup, or is it going to be the work from home, or is it going to be, you know, the hybrid of both? But instead of voicing out, we're going to do something very interesting. I want you to, you know, voice out your opinion through actions. So if you think that the office setup is going to work for you, give me a thumbs up using your left hand. If you think it is going to be purely work from home, give me a thumbs up using your right hand. Or if it is going to be hybrid, just like Mehta said, give me a namaste. So what do you think is going to work for you? So we have all 4 namastes, that's good. So we have a full board of panel goes with the hybrid. So I think that is going to work, or you know, that is going to perfectly suit the new normal in the upcoming days to get. Lovely. So moving on, there is something which I would like to, you know, understand from you. As the pandemic had hit us, as again one of the speakers had told, I think Patel had told that it is almost 1 year, exactly 1 year since the pandemic had hit us. One thing that was immediately onto the news was the Zoom platform, right? So as soon as the pandemic had hit, plenty of people had started to use the video conferencing app, for instance, Zoom. So talking about this kind of you know, new technology, I would like to understand from you lovely panelists, what was that one technology adoption you made to ensure your business continuity? I would like to start once again with Mr. N.K. Mehta. Over to you.
Yes, no doubt about it. This remote communication software, it was one of the biggest adoption for us because we were used to doing face-to-face interactions always, all this time. But after this pandemic happened, not only Zoom, we have our own Cisco WebEx platform also, which we were using earlier, but that become used prominently. But Zoom also become, because most of the customers were comfortable with Zoom, it's easy to use. So this remote communication, let me not name Zoom, but remote communication, basically this virtual communication platform was the biggest adoption. And number 2, the remote connectivity for the customers, in the sense I can take control of the customer's PC and server. That also took the thing, because we had customers who were never allowing a remote connectivity to their servers because of the security reasons. But they also changed the mind. In fact, National Stock Exchange, they will never allow remote connectivity, but they changed. So this was the behavioral change of the customer also I will put. Along with this remote connectivity software, I will say the change in customer behavior, that they accepted this remote support, which made our life easy, are 2 major things I will say came after the pandemic. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Over to Mr. Patel.
Yeah, so Muthu, from my side, I'll have 4 things to tell you on this particular point. One of the things which is very important is that, were you ready from day one when the pandemic started? So could you operate from home? So most of the people would have said, yes, I have platforms which can collaborate. The platforms which could collaborate is not just video conferencing. It is your mailing, it is your office applications, your conferencing solutions. And these are some of the things which has to be ready on day one. The second part which I come is mobile technology. Today, mobile technology has become a big driving force. So are your applications available on your mobile phones as well as on your laptop and desktop? So that we are talking about in C. The third part which I'm talking about is operating on a cloud platform today. What is your company's strategy when you look at it over a long period of time? Today, cloud adoption is going to be rampant. Most of the people would not hold their own data centers. They would like to operate on a cloud platform where your servers, your applications, your security, your manpower needed to support it, your DR situation is available on a cloud platform. So I feel that this is very important. Last and the most important part I would relate to Mr. Mehta is on the security. Everything said and done today boils to a situation that my employees are safe to work on from wherever they operate. So I think these are four pillars that we need to work on in terms of looking at our future, which is going to be repetitive in nature now. Thank you, Muthu.
It was beautifully listed out, Mr. Patel. Thank you so much for the valuable input. I would like to understand from Mr. Nilesh on this. Over to you. Kindly unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry, yeah. As Mr. Mehir said, yes, there have been a lot of changes in the business-driven functionalities, Office 365 and various other things. So yes, so the business readiness and availability of the business applications on various platforms, not just on laptops, but on web and on mobile devices, is something which was made available from day one, or rather say overnight. So the business readiness around that was the critical factor which came in.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Nilesh. Over to Rupinder.
Well, our business is about, being able to physically get to ATMs to be able to fix the hardware, software issues. So to that extent, the set of employees we have is a mix. One is, our feet on the ground, those are engineers, and their needs means that wherever the engineer is his office. So he has to know what's happening with him, what does he need to do, whatever documentation is required to be done should be, kind of captured right at that point at which he has been in connect with the customer, which should be able to travel all the way to the point of recovery of payment. So what we had a huge benefit was that even before the lockdown, we had actually started working from home. I mean, the writing was on the wall, so we didn't wait for the lockdown to be really announced. That was more a safety act than a government imposed action. So the employees, the key engineers, 200 of them actually have mobile phones with an app which tells us where they are, what they are doing, what call they have. Every update is from the app into a system. And for us, everything has been on the cloud. Whether it's a technical support center, a parts, inventory, and logistics management system, which is across all the 30 plus states in the country. Even our order to cash, from the time I get a PO to the time we collect the money, we track everything onto this cloud-based system. So integration is there. And, the one part which we focused more on during the lockdown was training, making sure that everybody is able to understand. When I say A is an apple, everyone understands what is A and what is apple, right? So I think it was important that everybody speaks the same language, even if they are not with each other. So we spent a lot of time on training for the technology which we have so-called adopted. And the second thing was the disaster recovery systems. Making sure that while you have it there, how prepared are you for a disaster? When you are physically there, you figure out some ways, jugaad or whatever you call it. But now you are already in a kind of a disaster mode. And what if you have another disaster? So, we were able to focus on that, which became a combination of technology adoption, leverage with processes. So, and that is what we are hoping will continue to help ensure business continuity.
Thank you, Rupinder. So moving towards the next part of the segment, like NK Mehta had wonderfully told earlier in the session. So earlier it was like 1,000 employees under one connectivity, and since after the pandemic, it was 1,000 employees with 1,000 connectivity. The service providers, and there was a lot of difficulty, right? So on that note, I would like to understand from you panelists, what were some of the biggest challenges that your company had faced while adopting to the new digital normal? So once again, I would like to bring in Mr. NK Mehta to share his perspectives on it. Over to you. So please unmute yourself.
I could not understand your question. There was some internet connectivity issue. If you can repeat, please.
Yeah, sure. Some of the biggest challenges your company faced while adopting to the digital normal.
Oh, biggest challenge, digital normal. Okay. No, I will not say that we faced a major challenge. That doesn't apply to everybody else, but we were already into that field, right? As I said, we were into setting up security systems. So already, as such, setting work from home or for traveling user, it was a part of our job. So as such, we did not face the challenge, but we had trouble convincing customer for doing this remote support. They have to open certain security holes, which will be still secure, but then still they were worried. So that is the mindset we had to bring it. Number one, that was a number one. Number two, see, IT companies, which are major giants, they didn't have any problem. For them, setting up was not a problem. But problem came for non-IT companies, say manufacturing, they were not ready for it. So we had tough time convincing them and then setting up these processes for them. So adoption was not a problem for us, but yes, most of our non-IT customers, it was a huge problem, which we had to, cater to.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Yes, Mr. Patel, I would like to understand your perspective on this.
So, Muthu, adoption for us to work in this type of a scenario was not a challenge at all. But the challenges were that if I need printing, where do I do print? So printer is available to me. If I need physical clearance to be done in our situation, so obviously somebody has to go to the customs and clear your goods. So those are some of the things which are challenges. I would say these are not challenges, but these are situational requirements for your industry. For example, if a production manufacturing floor, if you don't have people down the floor, how can you manufacture goods? So I would leave it to that. But let me come to a situation which was earlier report is how do I monitor my employees for productivity loss or productivity gain, which in today's mind is everybody's dilemma. So as a CIO, CPO for an organization, my organization also stepped into a situation where I said that, do you have such a tool available which will monitor your employees and give us a realistic situation that how many people have performed what? Those people who are sitting on desks and doing your clerical work, obviously they will do in and out whatever is there supposed to be done, and somebody will monitor. Those people who are traveling on the field, you can't monitor them because they don't have a login, you can't control them. So probably we looked at various tools, but my request to a lot of people who are listening to it, we should have a tool which is going to be a mid-level, which also does not ask for any trust factor. Because when you ask for a tool to be operating on your laptop, your employees will come and say, don't you trust me? I'm operating fullest to my capability. So these are some of the questions which are coming up. Another part is that you need to see that what can be monitored, which will effectively give you that results. Hey, yes, my employee is performing. So I feel that something which is light, user-friendly, especially employer user-friendly, is going to be a need of the hour in today's age. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Can we hear it from Mr. Nilesh this time? Nilesh, are you with us? All right, let me skip to Rupinder. Rupinder, can I have your word on this?
So I think, whenever we are adopting anything new, especially in this case, digital, I think Meher speaks about so many things which I completely echo, being able to see what our engineers, our employees are up to without challenging their integrity. How do we do that? So a tool which is able to give you statistics, which allows you to continue to build a performance-driven environment. Not based on perception, but based on real performance. So that is something, yes, there is nothing that we have found at the moment as a tool, a piece of technology that we can leverage to do that, but it'll be very interesting to know if there is something like that which already exists, which we can leverage. But I think one challenge that we have faced is that even though we have been ready with being digital, that's never enough. Digital has to be end-to-end. So, we mentioned about printing. Question is, why should we need to print? If we are able to create a document on a mobile app at the point at which, for example, in our case, an engineer attends a call and gets some paper sign off from the customer, and he can sign it off into his mobile app, which gets converted into PDF and stored centrally, which we then use along with a digitally created invoice and submit it to a customer for the point of revenue and revenue recognition as well as payment. But the customer, if they are not ready for digitization, you have no real value of what you have done. You are required to then do both, which we do. But if we could somehow have, customs understand that you can do something without a physical printed paper, which can flow into their system. Similarly, in our case, documents which could flow to our customers as digital documents, which are completely acceptable and allow them to process. So, this is a bigger challenge. My extent of readiness may be X, yours may be X minus 50. And that variation doesn't allow us to be completely successful.
All right. Lovely, Rupalo. Yes, let us quickly move on to something very interesting at this point in time. So one thing which we all have to agree is this technology has already been there in existence. Only that this pandemic had made us to embrace this technology a little quicker than it was supposed to be. Because earlier, if we can just rewind ourselves, this entire concept of work from home was not even into reality. It was a very debatable topic. There was a lot of questions whether this could be put into use or is it can be leverageable, and there were a lot of things that were in debate. But this pandemic had quickly made us to adopt to the work from home culture. And there were a lot of things that this pandemic had made us to do in terms of technology. We adopted technology very quickly. Is the right thing that we can tell. So at this juncture, I would like to understand one thing from you. See, the technology is changing the way we do business. So I would like to ask you to comment on how technology is changing the business. So I'd like to start once again with Mr. Mehta.
So I'll have both pros and cons. See, technology is an enabler, right? If we use the right technology, it enables us to do the business in much better way. Like as Mr. Marier or Rupinder was explaining, technology can be beautifully used. However, at times, this technology brings the trust issue. Like Rupinder or Marier were telling, see, the tools are available for measuring the productivity of the employees. But the problem is you start implementing, as rightly pointed out, they will say, don't you trust us? Or I think it was pointed by Mr. Marier that don't you trust us? Now we do trust. As the CEO told, we believe in God, but for rest all we need data, right? So the thing is, if the trust was that easy, the hacking should not have happened. The internet, the security data are stolen, and the Gartner, which is the most reputed, reporting company, has told that 80% of these breaches happen because of internal employees. So the question is, it's very easy to say that don't you trust us? But the problem is if the trust was there, then such a world would have been a beautiful place, right? So technologies are there, but yes, it's a sensitive issue. So barring that, if we are all very clear that we are in a business, let's not bring the trust factor. It is the need of the hour. So this software is needed for organization. So let's accept it. That's all. Rest all we can talk after the business hours. We can have our personal thing. So that mindset we have to bring that. And that's something I would like to add here.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. And at this juncture, I'm very happy to recognize the presence of Janice Das, the Regional Marketing Head, Mumbai of Tata Teleservices Limited. Welcome, ma'am, to this session. I would love to hear from you at the later part of the session. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Yes, so as we are talking, let me quickly move on to Mr. Patel to understand his views on the question. Over to you, sir.
See, the point, Muthu, which is coming out to our view now is whatever said and done in terms of a technology perspective, most of the organization in the last during 1 year have already taken action. What next? What next is very important. So I think the next part is the transformation in business. We are talking about technology changes, upliftment, security coming in place. All these things are there in place. Now, whatever we were doing as a process, as an SOP, or whichever industry you are in, will have to look at some bits of transformation in your own industry, which going forward is going to add a lot of value to you. Because I gave you a big example in retail, a brick and mortar store is not working, e-commerce is working, but you have big competition there. So what are you going to do to compete against them? See, these are some of the driving forces which are going to be very important. And these are some of the things which are going to be, we as well, our organization as well as looking at the same thing. That is why I'm mentioning that every organization today is looking at two key focus: technology, processes, and transformation. Thank you, Muthu.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Just let me hear from Rupinder. Over to you.
So we are still talking about technology, how it's changing the way we do business, Muthu?
Yes, we are, Rupinder.
Okay. So I think enough and more has been said about it. I have nothing special to say. It's just that I think we don't need an office. Office space is an overkill. There is just no two ways about it. And leveraging technology has taught us there's so much we can do far more efficiently, right? The only thing what we need more for is for measurement. We have data, but we don't know what to do with that data, especially when there is large amounts of data, right? And use that to make, to measure our productivity and to make better decisions. So I think that is where, technology is definitely changing everything we do in our business, but we now need a different kind of technology, right? So I hope that, I don't know whether that's an agenda of this platform, but it'll be interesting to know how we could come up with some ideas around, better leveraging what we already have for better decision making.
Definitely, Rupinder. We might do that in the later part.
I would like to ask a question to Mr. Rupinder and here. Do
Sure.
you feel that this human touch which we used to have, is that somewhere we are missing in our day-to-day work which we used to do?
Mr. Mehta and Rupinder, I'm very sorry to interrupt. Since we have just, around 10 minutes left. So let's quickly wrap up with the session. Probably, later in the session, we can definitely have the discussion. I'm very sorry about it. We have Nilesh who have joined with us now. So Nilesh, we were discussing about, I was just asking the panelists to comment on how technology is changing the way we do business. Can I have your opinion on this, Mr. Nilesh?
Well, technology has been changing has actually, totally changed the business paradigms overnight. Like with this onset of the pandemic and all, the way we used to conceptualize, like earlier work from home was a request, which was upon approval from the senior management for a few, privileged people. Now every team member is working from home. So it not only just the IT guys, the HR function, the finance, everyone. So yes, unless the technology would have supported this would never have been possible. So I believe that technology is a very key driver for any innovation, any change, or any paradigm shift in the business segment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh. Mr. Patel was, very firm on one point about asking what next, right? So I think I have to extract something from this answer and make it as my next question. So we're talking about a lot of challenges so far. But we as entrepreneurs, one thing that connects us is always we look forward for solutions. Right? So with regards to your business, I would like to understand what kind of enterprise solutions will increase your business productivity. So something that you're looking forward for, one enterprise solution which you feel will increase your business productivity, and what is it? I would like to start with Mr. N.K. Mehta. Over to you.
Uh, in fact, not one, but two I have to tell you.
Okay, please go ahead.
One is, the log connectivity of all the devices or all the systems which are connected, their log and analysis. And second, there's employee productivity and monitoring, because we are seeing a huge demand for that. So this is what I will bet on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta. Mr. Paya Patel, over to you.
So can you just repeat the question?
So the question was one, the enterprise solutions that you're looking forward for, which could increase your business productivity. What is it?
So one of the things that we are concentrating on is analytics and data science. And that is our key directional force. For the last 1 year, we are looking at a BI-based strategy. So we call it business intelligence strategy.
Okay.
And that is helping our businesses in a big way.
Okay.
And we are looking at it in connecting externally as well as internally to transform and look at how data can be looked at in a very transformative manner.
Okay.
And how business can make sense to it, how they can learn, how they can look at increasing our business. All those parameters are going to be very, very important.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Now, I think I have a different set of questions for Rupinder and Nilesh at this juncture. I think I would like to understand on a different perspective is, since the theme of today's session is reset to grow with tech advantage, right? So I would like to understand with Rupinder and Nilesh, one major initiative of your organization to reset growth, what is it going to be? One major initiative of your organization to enhance or to reset the growth, what is it going to be? I would like to ask Nilesh first. Over to you.
The only answer to that is connectivity.
Okay, connectivity, as very simple and short.
Yes.
All right.
So ILL, MPLS, whatnot, VPN, any sort of connectivity. Unless the businesses are connected, there is no growth.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh. Rupinder?
Nilesh is right about the word connectivity, but my view about connectivity is different. Technology, fine, of course, is key. There is no debate on that. I think two key things here. One is first is Employee Connect, and Employee Connect technology is one piece of it, an important piece, albeit not everything. So, for example, we are looking for a platform and ability by which we could connect better with our employees. It's not only about an intranet. It's not only about doing a fun Friday, but seeing how we can have people more connected, where we're able to communicate better with them. We're able to measure that what we've communicated with them, have they understood what we thought we were communicating, and make it two-way. So that piece is, I think, a need which we are seeking, and I think it's a very important part of the connectivity. And the second piece is the customer. So the customer, again, connecting with them, whether it is through surveys to know whether we are giving them what they actually want. Is there a inherent demand for something which we are not able to visualize currently? Are the services really as good as we think they are? And if they have something to say to us, we have to find some ways and means to connect with them and collect that information. And then you go to this point which Meher spoke about, which is analytics. So using this piece whereby we could afford to be transparent about what we have collected through that, connect with our customer and our employees, and use that to be better every day.
All right.
So I think that is I don't have all the answers of what is the technology which is going to be used for doing that. But considering that today I can have my, teach my daughter while I'm on a COVID, quarantine, and I can teach her using a Zoom on a whiteboard doing mathematics. It's brilliant. I never thought that could be done a few months back.
All
So
right.
I'm sure that if we can, verbalize what we are talking about, there are people out there who can figure out how to, bring in that technology.
Very true. Very true. Thank you, Rupinda. I have one final question to put forward to the panelists. This is, probably a lifestyle-based question apart from technology, but still related to your business. I would like to have, this can be a rapid fire round, very quick answers to the panel. During this pandemic, what was one thing that you watch or you read to get your business updates? I'd like to quickly start with Mr. Mehta. Kindly keep your answers very, very short. Over to you.
Watch and read. No, I think somewhere I could
Yes.
miss it.
Watch or read to get business updates.
Oh, no. We are in a field where we have to keep us updated. So that goes without saying. We have to read latest way of hacking and latest way of protection. So that goes on. But however, if I understood correctly, you want to say that we were working from home, we would have much more time. So how did we utilize that time to learn something more? Yes. So one is, I was never a movie watcher, but I become a avid movie watcher, not the normal general movies, but I wanted to.
This is a rapid fire round, so I think you have to be very rapid. This is a rapid round. One answer, can I hear from you?
Real life documentaries.
All right.
Real life based documentaries.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Over to Patel.
To look at real life partnerships and collaborative partners who are going to lead up from upfront, okay?
Right.
And they should take you to the next level. So
Thank
working with good, valuable partners is going to be very, very important.
Okay.
And leave the rest to them. You don't have to reinvent anything.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Over to Mr. Nilesh.
Sorry, I missed the question. Can you just repeat it again?
What do you read or watch to get business updates? Kindly keep your answer short.
Well, I read a lot of emailers, ETCIO, ETCSO, and a lot of those similar mailers. Then for something from the BW. Then on the papers, I read the Economic Times. That's the only one which I read.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh. Yes, Rupinda. Over to you.
Well, I watch simple things, CNBC, and read Economic Times. Anything which comes up as an alert, and you have a lot of just-ins coming on your phone, and Harvard Business Reviews, which one has easy access to right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, panelists. That was an excellent panel discussion for the last 1 hour, which I really had a lot of interesting inputs. And at this juncture, I would like to invite Janice Das to give a brief closing thoughts of today's session. Over to you, Janice.
Thank you to each one of you for sparing time and giving such insightful sessions. I think personally, I gained a lot of insights from each one of you. And I'm sure the viewers who have logged in, they have also had an enriching session. And we look forward to each one of you to become associated with Tata Tele Business Services in our future series also, which is the CXO Roundtable. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. And thank you, dear panelists, for joining with us. I think we can all share mail contacts or mail IDs or the contacts. I think Mr. Mehta had to discuss a few things with Rupinder, I believe. So let's all share our email ID or contact in the chat box so that we all can keep in touch for the session. Maybe we can take a minute or two for that, and post which we'll close the session. Meanwhile, I would like to thank Janice and for coming here with us, and also the panelists for joining with us for the last 1 hour and sharing excellent inputs. I think I'm very sure that the viewers who are going to watch this session will definitely gain a lot of inputs and insights and help them to grow their business in the days to come. And personally, on behalf of the talk, I would like to wish all the lovely panelists here good luck and more success to come in the upcoming days with regards to your business. Thank you so much once again for joining with us, dear panelists.